If they made you feel small, it's because they feared your light. Carl Jung. In the deepest chambers of your wounded heart lies a truth they never wanted you to discover. Your light was never too dim, it was too bright for their darkness to contain. There is a sacred wound that lives within many of us, the wound of being made to feel small. Perhaps it happened in childhood, when a parent's critical voice became the inner critic that still whispers today. Perhaps it was in school, where your unique way of seeing the world was labeled as too much or not enough. Or maybe it was in relationships, workplaces, or communities where your authentic self was met with judgment, dismissal, or cruel indifference. Carl Jung understood this profound truth. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But what he also knew, and what we must remember, is that when others seek to diminish us, they are often projecting their own shadow, their own fears, limitations, and unhealed wounds. The person who made you feel small was not responding to your inadequacy. They were responding to their own terror of your magnificence. In the depths of analytical psychology, Jung revealed that we cannot perceive in others what does not exist within ourselves. When someone attempts to diminish your light, they are unconsciously recognizing something within you that they have lost, denied, or never dared to claim in themselves. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, Jung wrote. And for those who have abandoned this sacred journey, witnessing another's authentic self-expression becomes a mirror that reflects their own abandonment of their true nature. Think of the times you were criticized for being too sensitive because they had numbed their own capacity to feel, too ambitious because they had given up on their own dreams, too different because they had conformed to fit in, too bright because they had dimmed their own inner light. Your light didn't blind them. It reminded them of the darkness they had chosen to live in. Jung spoke of the wounded healer, the archetype of one who transforms their own pain into a source of healing for others. Your experience of being made to feel small is not a testament to your inadequacy. It is the initiation into your own healing journey and your eventual role as a guide for others walking similar paths. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. This becoming is not a destination, but a continuous unfolding. A daily choice to honor your authentic self, despite the voices, both external and internal, that suggest you should be different, smaller, more palatable. Every time someone tried to diminish you, they were actually offering you a sacred opportunity, the chance to choose your own truth over their projection, your own light over their darkness, your own expansive nature over their contracted worldview. Consider this. What if every person who made you feel small was actually a teacher, unknowingly showing you exactly what you are not? What if their attempts to diminish you were actually highlighting the very aspects of yourself that most need your love, acceptance, and cultivation? Jung was fascinated by alchemy, the ancient practice of transforming base metals into gold. He saw this as a metaphor for psychological transformation, the process of transmuting our deepest wounds into our greatest wisdom, our painful experiences into sources of compassion and strength. Your vision becomes clear when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. The moments when you felt smallest were not random cruelties of fate. They were alchemical moments, opportunities for you to discover that your true essence cannot be diminished by external validation or criticism. Your worth is not determined by how others perceive you, but by your willingness to perceive yourself with compassion and truth. When you were made to feel small, you were being invited to find the immutable light within yourself, the light that exists independent of others' recognition or approval. This light is not something you must earn or prove. It is something you must simply remember and reclaim. Jung understood that individual psychology cannot be separated from collective psychology. The tendency to diminish others' light is not just a personal failing. It is a manifestation of our collective shadow, the parts of human nature that we prefer to deny or project onto others. We live in a culture that often fears authentic self-expression, that rewards conformity over creativity, that chooses comfort over growth. When you dare to be genuinely yourself, you become a threat to this collective agreement to remain small and safe. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely, Jung observed. And when you begin this journey of complete self-acceptance, you inadvertently challenge others to do the same. Some will be inspired by your courage, others will feel threatened by it. Understanding this dynamic is not about excusing those who hurt you, but about freeing yourself from the burden of taking their actions personally. Their inability to celebrate your light says nothing about your luminosity and everything about their relationship with their own inner radiance. Individuation, Jung's term for the process of becoming whole, requires us to reclaim all the parts of ourselves that we have disowned, denied, or allowed others to convince us don't belong. This includes reclaiming your right to be sensitive in a world that often rewards emotional numbness, creative in systems that prioritize productivity over imagination, intuitive in cultures that worship only rational thinking, spiritual in environments that dismiss the sacred authentic in relationships that demand performance. The most important question anyone can ask is, what myth am I living? Jung asked. For too long, you may have been living the myth that others' opinions of you carry more weight than your own inner knowing. For too long, you may have believed the story that your light needs to be dimmed to make others comfortable. It is time to write a new myth, one where your light is not a threat to be contained, but a gift to be shared, not a flaw to be hidden, but a strength to be celebrated. There is a sacred rebellion in refusing to stay small. It is the rebellion of the rose that blooms despite the concrete, of the star that shines despite the darkness, of the heart that loves despite the wounds. Jung wrote, "The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. The creative mind plays with the objects it loves. Your decision to embrace your full self, your light, your shadow, your complexity, your simplicity, your struggles and your triumphs, is an act of creative rebellion against a world that profits from your self-doubt and diminishment. Every time you choose self-compassion over self-criticism, you rebel. Every time you speak your truth instead of saying what others want to hear, you rebel. Every time you follow your intuition rather than others' expectations, you rebel. Every time you celebrate your uniqueness instead of trying to fit in, you rebel. This rebellion is not about anger or defiance. It is about love. Love for yourself, love for truth, love for the authentic expression of life that wants to flow through you. Jung's profound insight was that wholeness comes not from eliminating our darkness, but from integrating it consciously. The same is true for our light. We must learn to integrate our brightness, our gifts, our power, not by hiding them to make others comfortable, but by owning them responsibly and compassionately. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious, Jung taught us. But we must also remember that we do not become whole by denying our light to avoid triggering others' darkness. Your light is not meant to be hidden under a bushel. It is meant to shine, to inspire, to illuminate the path for others who are still finding their way out of the darkness of self-doubt and self-denial. The people who made you feel small were not your enemies. They were your teachers, showing you exactly what you must learn to transcend. They were mirrors reflecting back to you the ways you had not yet learned to love and accept yourself fully. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. This statement from Jung is not a suggestion. It is a sacred calling. Your true self is not something you must create. It is something you must uncover, remember, and have the courage to embody. The person who made you feel small saw something in you that they had lost in themselves. They recognized a freedom, a authenticity, a fearlessness that they had traded away for acceptance, security, or approval. Your light reminded them of their own unlived life, their own abandoned dreams, their own suppressed truth. This is why your healing journey is not just personal, it is collective. When you reclaim your right to be fully yourself, you give others permission to do the same. When you refuse to dim your light, you become a beacon for others who are still hiding in the shadows of others' expectations. Your emergence into your true self is not a selfish act. It is a service to the world. The world needs your unique gifts, your particular way of seeing, your specific contribution to the human tapestry. Jung recognized that our deepest wounds often become our greatest gifts. The experience of being made to feel small has given you something precious, the ability to recognize and nurture light in others, especially in those who have been similarly wounded. You know what it feels like to have your light dimmed, which means you also know how to help others rediscover their own luminosity. You understand the pain of not being seen for who you truly are, which means you can offer the gift of true seeing to others. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is a superpower that allows you to perceive what others miss. Your intensity is not too much. It is the fuel for transformation. Your difference is not a flaw. It is your gift to the world. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Jung wrote, "Every encounter with someone who tried to diminish you was also an opportunity for transformation, not just for you, but potentially for them as well." As you journey back to your own light, you may find that some people in your life cannot handle your brightness. This is not a failure on your part. It is simply a natural consequence of growth. Not everyone will be able to travel with you on your journey to wholeness. Some relationships may end, some opportunities may close, some communities may no longer feel like home. This is not a loss. It is a clearing, making space for relationships, opportunities and communities that can celebrate and support your authentic self. Jung understood that individuation is often a lonely journey, but it is also the most important journey you will ever take. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, even if it means walking alone for a while, even if it means disappointing others, even if it means choosing your own approval over theirs. Your light is not negotiable. It is not something to be traded away for acceptance, love, or security. It is the very essence of who you are, and it is meant to shine. In the end, the journey back to your light is really a journey back to yourself, to the self you were, before the world told you who you should be, to the self you still are beneath all the conditioning and criticism, to the self you are becoming as you shed the layers of false identity. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves, Jung reminds us. But everything that threatens others about us can also lead us to an understanding of our own power, our own light, our own irreplaceable contribution to the world. The people who made you feel small were not seeing you clearly. They were seeing their own reflection in the mirror of your light. They were responding to their own darkness, their own fear, their own unlived life. But you are not their reflection. You are not their projection. You are not their fear made manifest. You are light. You are love. You are the unique expression of consciousness that has never existed before and will never exist again. As Jung knew so deeply, your vision becomes clear when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. You are awakening now. You are remembering. You are coming home to yourself. The light they feared in you was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to shine, to heal, to inspire, to transform, starting with you. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Carl Jung. If this reflection spoke to your soul, subscribe. You are not alone. The journey is just beginning.